Good evening, Philippines and the world. Today is Monday, March 9, 2020. Join us for the next 45 minutes as we deliver today's top stories around the globe. I'm Angelo Castro III.
We are also seen in 1,935 satellite monitoring centers nationwide and live via streaming worldwide through UNTV News and Rescue Facebook account and untvweb.com. I am William Theo.
And here are the headlines.
The Philippines confirms 10 new coronavirus cases, bringing the total number of infected people in the country to 20. President Rodrigo Duterte declares a state of public health emergency to arrest the spread of the novel coronavirus infections. Two lawmakers suggest to place Metro Manila on lockdown after cases of coronavirus were confirmed in the region. Oil prices suffer a historic collapse after Saudi Arabia launched a price war against Russia. PNP Chief Archie Gamboa sees no foul play in the Laguna helicopter crash that has left two generals in critical condition. And over 400 families benefit from Wish 1075's relief operation in Ibaan, Batangas.
The Philippines has been placed under the state of public health emergency. This comes as the number of coronavirus disease 2019 cases in the country rises to 20.
Meanwhile, the Presidential Security Group implements a no-touch policy during the President's public engagements. Rosa Licos reports why.
Through Proclamation number 922, the Duterte administration places the Philippines under a state of public health emergency. Through the Public Health Emergency Proclamation, the government will be able to implement mandatory reporting, intensify government response and measures, and enforce quarantine and disease control prevention measures.
The declaration of a state of public health emergency would capacitate government agencies and LGUs to immediately act to prevent loss of life, utilize appropriate resources to implement urgent and critical measures to contain or prevent the spread of COVID-19, mitigate its effects and impact to the community.
All government agencies and local government units are enjoined to render full cooperation to undertake appropriate response and measures to eliminate the COVID-19 threat. The Palace also appeals to all media outlets to release all the Department of Health's announcements and advisories on COVID-19.
May we request and urge all media outlets to kindly publish all the statements made by Secretary Duque and all the bulletins issued by it so that our countrymen will know how to react on the present crisis.
To ensure the safety of President Duterte, the Presidential Security Group will implement a no-touch policy between the chief executive and the public. All personalities who are expected to get near the president will be thoroughly screened and tested for any illness or symptom related to COVID-19, including PSG personnel, politicians, and other dignitaries. Large crowd gatherings with the president shall be assessed. Cancellation is also possible for the safety of both the presidents and the attendees. Rosa Licos, UNTV News and Rescue, Malacanang.
Classes for tomorrow have been canceled in some areas as a precautionary measure against the possible spread of the novel coronavirus disease or COVID-19. The City of Manila announced a week-long class suspension from March 9 to 15 on all levels in the private and public sector. Classes in all levels in both public and private schools in Caloocan City and Marikina City will also be suspended on March 10 and 11, 2020. Other places that have announced their class suspensions are Pasay City and Cainta, Rizal. The Department of Health admits there is a need to review its reporting protocol as well as that of the local government units on the coronavirus disease 2019. Rosalie Cos details why.
The public got confused when some local government units, apart from the Department of Health, had made separate announcement on confirmed COVID-19 cases. According to Department of Health Secretary Francisco Duque III, the DOH is the primary department to release official information since it has all the details on the outbreak.
Tingnan natin kung paano mai-align yung mga LGU reporting protocols at ma-harmonize natin para hindi nagkakaroon ng tila nagre-report ang LGU ang dating sa mamamayan ibang kaso ito doon sa na-report ng DOH earlier. So we will just harmonize.
The official also reminds the public to refrain from sharing unconfirmed and baseless information regarding COVID-19. Instead of posting such on social media, the health chief says everyone must ensure that self and family hygiene is implemented thoroughly to prevent the spread of any virus.
Maganda po tanungin muna ninyo ang sarili ninyo bago pindutin ang mga keyboards ng laptop at saka ng inyong mga iPad, iPhones, Naghugas na ba ako ng kamay ko ng 20 seconds? Magdasal na rin po kayo na sana mawala na po ang COVID-19 sa buong mundo.
Rosalie Cos, UNTV, News and Rescue, Malacanang.
Now let's take a look at the timeline of confirmed cases in the country as Aiko Miguel reports.
The first confirmed case in the country was recorded before January ended. Case number 1 is a 38-year-old Chinese female from Wuhan City, Hubei Province, China, who arrived in the country via Hong Kong last January 21. She traveled to the Philippines with her partner, who was confirmed case number 2, a 44-year-old Chinese male. Case number 2 expired last February 1. Case number 3 is a 60-year-old Chinese woman who was admitted in Bohol Province. She flew back to China last January 31 after recovering. The Department of Health, together with other government agencies and LGUs, immediately conducted contact tracing. Because of a continuous increase of positive cases in China and on the Diamond Princess cruise ship, the Interagency Task Force had decided to repatriate Filipinos from Wuhan and the cruise ship. On February 9, 30 Filipinos arrived from Wuhan City and then quarantined in the New Clark City or NCC Sports Hub for 14 days. On February 23, all repatriates from Wuhan City tested negative for COVID-19. On February 25, over 400 Filipinos were repatriated from the Diamond Princess cruise ship and later on quarantined in NCC for 14 days. During the quarantine period of repatriates from Japan, some manifested symptoms and were brought to a hospital but eventually tested negative for COVID-19. They are scheduled to be sent home on March 11. The DOH will continue to monitor them for a month. On March 6, the DOH confirmed the 4th and 5th cases of COVID-19 in the country. Case number 4 is a 48-year-old Filipino with travel history to Japan. The 5th case is a 62-year-old Filipino from San Juan City with no travel history abroad. Based on information from the DOH, he often visited a Muslim prayer hall in San Juan City.
At this point of time, we are not sure whether we are looking at an isolated case or we are looking at a cluster of cases.
On March 7, the DOH confirmed case number 6, a 59-year-old Filipina, the wife of case number 5. Case number 5 and 6 have no travel history abroad. Currently, case number 5 is in a stable condition but guarded. On March 8, the DOH reported 4 new COVID-19 cases in the country. Case number 7 is a 38-year-old male Taiwanese who has no travel history abroad but had contact with another Taiwanese national who had earlier tested positive for COVID-19. Case number 8 is a 32-year-old Filipino with travel history to Japan within the past 14 days. Case number 9 is an 86-year-old male American with pre-existing hypertension and history of travel to the USA and South Korea. Case number 10 is a 57-year-old Filipino with no travel history abroad. He was reported to have had contact with a confirmed COVID-19 case. The DOH is currently investigating details of his exposure. Case numbers 7, 8, 9, and 10 are all admitted and isolated in a private hospital. The DOH has raised the alert system to Code Red Sub-Level 1, under which there is a declaration of public health emergency. All health workers in the country should be geared up for possible community transmission transmission, and for providing patients medical needs, strengthening contact tracing, wider scope of government surveillance of individuals with severe respiratory symptoms, wider scope of the testing capacity to identify people infected with the coronavirus, strict implementation of home quarantine, and government's preparation for community transmission. Aiko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
Meanwhile, the death toll in Italy jumps by more than 130 in the past 24 hours as countries elsewhere in the world adopt drastic measures to try and stamp out the infection. Nina Armilio has the details.
The number of people to have died from the coronavirus in Italy has shot up by 133 in a day to 366. The total number of infections leapt 25% to 7,375 from 5,883, according to the Civil Protection Agency. The jump in figures comes as millions adapt to radical measures introduced on Sunday in an attempt to contain the outbreak. Up to 16 million people in Lombardy and 14 provinces need special permission to travel under new quarantine rules. Prime Minister Giuseppe Conte also announced the closure of schools, gyms, museums, nightclubs, and other venues across the whole country. The restrictions will last until April 3. France has banned gatherings of more than 1,000 people to contain the coronavirus. French Health Minister Olivier Véran said there would be some exceptions to the new ban, which includes protests and the use of mass public transport. The country's death toll from the outbreak is now 19, and the total number of confirmed cases is 1,209. France remains on level 2 of its outbreak response plan, which focuses on containment. Level 3 is the highest level. After initially being denied entry, the Regal Princess cruise ship was permitted to dock in Port Everglades, Florida on Sunday, after 2 crew members tested negative for coronavirus. The 2 crew members were tested because they had recently worked on another ship owned by Princess Cruises, where 21 people tested positive for COVID-19. Thousands of passengers who were urged to stay in their cabins were impacted by the one-day delay. The 2 crew members showed no signs of the virus, but were tested as a cautionary measure, the Sun Sentinel reported. The number of confirmed U.S. coronavirus cases has risen past 500. At least 21 people have died. President Donald Trump has earlier signed an $8.3 billion emergency bill designed to combat the outbreak. School children and their parents began an early spring break in the United Arab Emirates on Sunday as the nation closed all schools and educational institutions to prevent the spread of coronavirus. Every school in the UAE will remain closed for 4 weeks, and students and education workers will have to spend a compulsory 2 weeks at home after returning from overseas. The UAE has 45 confirmed cases of the coronavirus. No one has died from the disease in the country. Nina Armilio, UNTV News and Rescue.
Now let's get the latest tally of the coronavirus cases around the world. The viral outbreak that began in China has infected 110,041 people globally in more than 108 countries. Still, the overwhelming majority of cases of the infection are in mainland China, which has reported 80,735 cases and 3,119 deaths. South Korea is still second to the most confirmed cases outside China, with 7,382 cases and 50 fatalities. According to authorities, the coronavirus outbreaks in China and South Korea appear to be slowing down, but that is not in the case in Italy, as the death toll in the country shoots up to 366, making it the highest outside China with 7,375 confirmed cases. In Iran, meanwhile, the confirmed cases is now 6,566 and 194 fatalities. Meanwhile, in the Philippines, the total number of confirmed cases has risen to 20, with 706 persons under investigation or PUIs, for possible COVID-19. The number of admitted PUIs at medical facilities is now at 41, and the number of discharged PUIs is at 655. Aviation authorities are taking action to help local airline companies avoid incurring further revenue losses. Joanne Nano tells us why.
A drop of around 500,000 passengers was recorded by the Manila International Airport Authority in Ninoy Aquino International Airport last month due to COVID-19 threats. According to MIAA General Manager Eddie Monreal, the number of passengers for international and domestic flights decreased by 476,000 in February. Local airline carriers have earlier complained over huge income losses due to the government's implementation of travel bans on several countries. Last month, the Philippine Airlines retrenched around 300 of its employees due to income losses. To help local airline operators to curb such revenue losses, MIAA and CAAP will defer the payment of takeoff, landing, and parking fees of their aircraft. According to MIAA, airline carriers pay around 58 million pesos a month for this.
Until COVID threat is there, we will have suspension or deferment of charges sa mga airlines, local carriers.
MIAA assures it has a contingency fund so as not to affect its operating expenses in NAIA.
Meron ho kaming corporate funds, so we can still survive.
Meanwhile, there are still no cancellation of flights bound for Qatar despite the order of the Qatar government to include the Philippines in its travel ban. The Civil Aeronautics Board is coordinating with its counterpart in Qatar to discuss the protocols for the implementation of the travel ban.
Pag-aaralan natin kung ano yung protocols nila. For example, tayo sa protocols natin, may mga exemptions. Halimbawa, yung mga OFWs and then yung mga permanent resident visa holders. We are not surprised because this is the prerogative of any country wishing to protect their borders.
Joanano, UNTV News and Rescue, Pasay City.
Tape report the number of COVID-19 cases in the Philippines from 6 last Friday reaches 20 as of today. Aiko Miguel tells us why.
At past 4 in the afternoon today, the Department of Health reported 10 new confirmed COVID-19 in the Philippines, bringing the total number to 20. All 10 new cases are Filipinos. 9 are male, 1 is female. Their ages range between 24 and 72. Cases 11, 14, and 19 have no travel history abroad. Cases 12, 13, 18, and 20 had travel history abroad. Case 15's travel history has yet to be determined. Case number 16 and 17 had an exposure to a known COVID-19 case. Case 11 is currently admitted and isolated in Medical City. Cases 12, 13, 14, and 15 are isolated in Metropolitan Medical Center. Cases 18 and 19 are admitted at Tri-City Medical Center. Case number 20 is currently isolated in Research Institute for Tropical Medicine. Health Assistant Secretary Maria Rosario Vergeres says they will now let the public know more information about the cases and in which health facility they are admitted.
Magkakaroon ng resolution regarding this and we will be providing you with updates. So wala tayong babaguhin, magkakaroon lang ng resolution which will rescind the previous issuances of other government agencies.
The Epidemiology Bureau is currently conducting comprehensive contact tracing activities for the new confirmed cases.
Biglang pagdami po ng kaso, ito naman po ay dahil sa mag-igting na surveillance na ginagawa nga natin sa ngayon at nakakakita na tayo ng mga tao na nagpo-positibo dito sa ating bansa. And if you may observe, some of these positive cases had histories of travel galing from countries which are affected.
As for lockdown of cities with confirmed cases, DOH explains this cannot be implemented unless Code Red Alert Sub-Level 2 is declared.
So ngayon, nasa Sub-Level 1 po tayo. So wala pa po tayo doon sa estado na kailangan na natin mag-lockdown. Pag nagpunta po tayo doon sa Sub-Level 2 ng Code Alert Red natin na sinatawag, dito po ay meron na po tayong sustained community transmission. Yun po yung ating trigger para magsabi na pwede na po tayong gumamit nito mga strategic interventions na ito katulad ng lockdown.
Asek Vergere further explains that community transmission can be declared by the DOH once a local case has no link to another local case. Meanwhile, case numbers 4 and 6 are now in a stable condition. Case number 5 is in a stable condition but guarded due to severe pneumonia, acute kidney injury, and enlargement of the prostate. Cases 7 and 9 are also in stable condition, while case number 10 is in a critical condition. The health conditions of cases 11 to 20 await validation. As of noon today, 468 contacts of cases 4 to 10 have been traced by the DOH Epidemiology Bureau. Of that number, 113 have been assessed and 107 have been interviewed and placed under home quarantine. 6 of the individuals traced are considered as PUIs and placed under isolation in various health facilities. Aiko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
A strong immune system of the body still remains as a reliable protection against the coronavirus disease. Let's find out why from Asher Kadapan Jr.
Experts have yet to find out the right vaccine to fight COVID-19, but for now, the best available remedy there is lies within our body. The most important weapon against diseases within every human body is its natural immunity. Immunity is the ability of an organism to resist a particular infection caused by virus, bacterium, or microorganism, which are also called pathogens. Once a pathogen enters through body openings, substances, specifically protein molecules inside the body, called immunoglobulin, function as antibody and attack the foreign bodies.
When we are exposed sa mga allergens or antigens ang tawag doon, or foreign body, nagde-create siya ng parang reaction. So, pag nag-create siya ng reaction, we develop antibodies ang tawag doon.
These antibodies constitute the immune system of the human body. The stronger the immunity, the easier it is to fight the disease.
Number 1, we have to eat nutritious food. Bawal ang puyat. Number 3, dapat syempre activities natin, avoid vices, avoid paninigarilyo or those that can lower the immune system. And of course, number 4 is to have good to do exercise.
When natural immunity fails, the community then depends on a modern technique through the vaccine-induced immunity, which happens to have a longer effect than the natural way. Vaccine is a substance used to stimulate the production of antibodies which provide immunity against particular diseases. But while the vaccine for the COVID-19 is still being explored, we should help our body maintain good immunity to fight the disease. Asher Kadapan Jr., UNTV News and Rescue, City of Manila.
Precautionary measures against the new coronavirus disease must not be done only outdoors, but most especially inside our homes. Here are some of the things we must do to make our homes virus-proof.
With the continuous increase of coronavirus disease 2019 cases, we must know the right things to do to avoid getting infected with the virus. It must start inside our own homes. Here are some of the things we must do to make our homes virus-proof. It is important to wash hands thoroughly. As much as possible, use warm water and an antibacterial hand soap instead of scented hand wash. Make sure to also wash your feet thoroughly, since there's a risk of bringing dirt and bacteria to your home after staying outdoors for most hours of the day. Always cut long fingernails. Keep in mind that longer nails store a lot of gunk and viruses that hand washing can miss. Disinfect objects and surfaces you always touch. This can be effectively done by using at least 70% alcohol. Here are the things people frequently touch that need sanitizing: cell phones, laptop keyboard, doorknob, staircase railings, countertops, electronic switches, refrigerator handle, skincare products, eyewear, and toilet flusher. Also remember to cover your mouth when you sneeze or cough inside your house. Cover your mouth with a tissue or a bent elbow to prevent the spread of viruses. To effectively kill germs on clothes, wash and dry your laundry at the highest temperature the fabric can stand. You should also make sure to run your washer empty with a cup of bleach once a week to disinfect it and keep it fresh. Provide a designated area or rack for shoes. Improve the air quality indoors by using an air filter or simply open your windows once a day. Improved air quality contributes to a healthier body by making it less likely to be susceptible to viruses by also supporting the immune system. To know more about how to virus-proof your home, watch the episode on KDR TV, the YouTube channel of Kuya Daniel Razon. Mon Hokson, UNTV News and Rescue.
Hundreds of thousands of women across Latin America's biggest cities flocked to the streets for International Women's Day with anger over inequality and femicide boiling over into sporadic violence. Nina Bascon reports why.
As Women's Day events unfolded worldwide with women donning purple to symbolize feminism, the Latin American marches were set against a backdrop of broader social unrest in the region. Police said 150,000 protesters gathered in Chile's capital of Santiago, and another 40,000 marched elsewhere in the country. Many carried signs calling for an end to violence against women. In Mexico's capital, police and protest groups said up to 80,000 people gathered, including young girls and women in wheelchairs, for a march in which they hoisted signs and shouted chants against femicides, which have more than doubled over the last 5 years. In Brazil, Sao Paulo, about 1,000 women turned out according to police estimates, with many protesting right-wing President Jair Bolsonaro, who came under criticism for comments he made about 2 female reporters. Protesters also targeted violence against women in Brazil, where 4 women were killed a day in 2019, according to the Inter-American Commission on Human Rights. Women's Day in Argentina hold work stoppages on Monday in support of equal pay and legislation aimed at fighting violence against women. Nina Bascon, UNTV News and Rescue.
A fire over the weekend destroyed most of the voting machines stored in a warehouse in Caracas, Venezuela. Meanwhile, the South Korean military confirmed reports that North Korea launched at least 3 projectiles into the sea. Jovic Bermas details this report.
In South Korea, North Korea launched multiple short-range projectiles into the sea on Monday as part of ongoing firing drills, a week after it resumed missile tests following a 3-month break. According to South Korea's Joint Chiefs of Staff, the projectiles included artillery fired from a multiple-launch rocket system. Britain, Germany, France, Estonia, and Belgium raised North Korea's recent missile firings at the UN Security Council on Thursday, calling them a provocative action that violated UN resolutions. Pyongyang's foreign ministry slammed the European action as US investigated reckless behavior, and the sister of Kim Jong-un said the drills were not meant to threaten anyone. In Venezuela, nearly 50,000 voting machines and almost 600 computers went up in flames as a result of the fire that broke out on Saturday. Venezuela's Elections Council did not elaborate on how many voting machines were still available for use or how the incident would affect future elections. Venezuela holds elections this year for parliament, which is currently controlled by the opposition. President Nicolas Maduro's adversaries are demanding that the country instead hold a new presidential election. A date for that vote has not been set. State prosecutors are looking into the cause of the blaze, which did not cause any injuries. In Greece, The Greek government has released a video showing what it claims to be a vehicle on the Turkish side of the Greek-Turkish border attempting to tow away part of the border fence. Video footage provided by Greek authorities of the border on Friday night showed what appeared to be an armored border surveillance vehicle on the Turkish side attempting to tow away part of the frontier fence with a rope. In a separate video released by the Greek government, authorities claim a Turkish police officer was seen at the border fence on Saturday night firing tear gas over the fence towards the Greek side. In another incident that took place at sea on March 5th, a Turkish Coast Guard vessel is seen chasing a Greek Coast Guard vessel. Greek authorities claim the Greek Coast Guard vessel was being harassed by the Turkish Coast Guard vessel. Turkish authorities were not immediately available for comment. Jovic Bermas, UNTV News and Rescue.
PNP Chief Police General Archie Gamboa believes that there's no sabotage in the chopper crash last Thursday morning. General Gamboa says he is not giving a deadline to the Special Investigation Task Group for their probe into the incident. Leah Ilagan tells us why.
PNP Chief Police General Archie Gamboa is now back to work after figuring in a helicopter crash Thursday last week. He sustained bruises on his face and arms. The PNP chief thanks all those who have prayed for his and other police officers' safety and recovery. However, he refuses to tell the story to what happened before the crash. Gamboa admits he was supposed to be seated on the left side, where Director for Intelligence Police Major General Mariel Magaway sat. But the pilot instructed him to sit on the right side second row.
When the chief PNP rides the chopper, he has the preferred seat. Pero alam nyo kung ano lang dahilan? Dahil ayaw niya doon sa mainit na side. Yun lang yun. No, that's why whenever I ride the chopper, tatanungin ko, saan ako? So sabihin niya, dito ka. But primarily, ang consideration doon is, yun nga, kung saan hindi mainit. Especially on long rides, di ba?
General Gamboa explains that the incident was purely an accident and not a sabotage.
No, ako personally convinced ako nandun ako sa loob ng helicopter. Nobody in his right mind, even what kind of interest he has in his mind, would do that.
PNP spokesperson Police Brigadier General Bernard Banac has earlier narrated what he had experienced before the helicopter crashed and touched the ground.
Well, nag-hover yung helicopter and then nag-zero visibility dahil yung cloud of dust ay na-envelope na yung chopper. And then dahil wala namang visibility, walang reference point, from there, nakaramdam na ako ng something is not right. Parang nag-banking siya. And then, so from there, nag-brace position na ako. Prepare for crash landing.
General Banac sustained abrasions on his right hand, left eye, and right forehead. He also suffered backache due to spinal column compression. General Banac was released from the hospital Saturday afternoon. The PNP chief meanwhile confirms that Police Major General Jovic Ramos and Major General Mariel Magaway's conditions are improving. Both are admitted in Asian Hospital and Medical Center in Muntinlupa City.
Generally, okay naman sila, no? But of course, they remain in the intensive care unit. At alam naman natin yung pag nandun ka sa ICU, you're on close monitoring.
General Gamboa adds he is not giving a deadline for the SITG investigation on the incident.
I do not want to rush things, no, because ito probably yung pinaka-grabe na nangyari. Kaya ayoko sila bigyan ng deadline. And as a matter of fact, it will involve a lot of government agencies, no? We tapped the Philippine Air Force, the Civil Aeronautics Authority of the Philippines, yung CAAP, and probably Bell also themselves. So I do not want to give deadlines for this investigation by the SITG.
A high-ranking officer told to UNTV News that Pilot Police Lieutenant Colonel Roel Zalatar is the same pilot that operated a chopper during a flyby exercise during the PNP's 117th anniversary in August 2018 at the grandstand of Camp Crame. 3 persons were hurt in that incident. Leia Ilagan, UNTV News and Rescue, Camp Crame.
A lawmaker proposes to lock down the entire National Capital Region, but for the Health Department, there is no need for a lockdown as of today. Vincent Arboleda will tell us why.
With the dangers posed by COVID-19, Albay 2nd District Representative Joey Salceda proposes to place the entire National Capital Region on lockdown as a measure to prevent the spread of the virus.
One life lost to COVID-19 is too much. That should be the principle that should be guiding us. And because of that principle, then you have that doctrine of precautionary. Do it so that it will not be viral. Hindi yung viral kaya we're doing it.
The lawmaker said that if transport going in and out of Metro Manila is cut, the virus may be contained. The spread of the virus to other regions can also be avoided.
Sara mo SLEX, NLEX, yung railways, no domestic flights and no bus trips. Pag sinama mo SLEX, NLEX, di wala ng bus trips. Kasi nandito yung virus, nasa Metro Manila.
Salceda clarifies that there may be exemptions like the delivery of food and medicine. The Albay congressman also proposes the suspension of classes and work stoppage for 1 week.
Pinaka-single largest na mga congregation of people, well, there can be mass transmission are the schools. At least work stoppage in Metro Manila also for 1 week might just do the job. Na walang lalabas muna kasi nanditong virus eh.
Today, Marikina, Pasay, Navotas, San Juan, parts of Quezon City, Taytay and Cainta in Rizal, and Lingayen, Pangasinan suspended classes. The DepEd has earlier released an advisory to cancel national and regional schools meet, including the Palarong Pambansa. The DOH, however, maintains it is too early to implement a lockdown in the NCR.
These are some of the options being considered, but it might be premature at this point. However, let me just reiterate my earlier statement that we need to respect the local chief executive's decision to suspend classes, and that must be followed by all concerned.
Meanwhile, according to the report from the National Economic and Development Authority, the Philippines may lose 0.3 to 1% of the country's gross domestic product due to the COVID-19. But for Congressman Salceda, the number may reach 1.2% of the GDP, or an equivalent of 218.5 billion pesos of damages to the economy. The biggest sector that will be affected will be the tourism industry and the trade and services sector. He adds that the losses may just be down to 0.8% with a week-long NCR lockdown rather than reaching 1.5% of GDP drop. Vincent Arboleda, UNTV News and Rescue, House of Representatives.
PITC Global Traders wins 3-on-3 championship after defeating PhilHealth Plus 14-13. PITC wins 100,000 pesos while PhilHealth takes 50,000 pesos for their beneficiaries. Earlier, PITC defeated Ombudsman Graft Busters in the semifinal round 20-10, while SSS Kabalikat lost to PhilHealth Plus 22-19. Before the game, PhilHealth and Pag-ibig Fund offered assistance to UNTV Cup fans through their help desks. Wish 1075 journeyed for charity during the weekend to visit Taal volcano eruption survivors. More than 400 families benefited from the public services brought by the FM station to a community of evacuees. Jun Soriao reports.
Wish 1075 brings not just world-class musical experience to all Wishers. The #1 FM YouTube channel in the Philippines on Sunday brought free medical services to the displaced families from barangays Alas-as and Pulang Bato who are temporarily taking shelter by the provincial government At AFP PNP Housing Project in Talaibon, Ibaan, Batangas, children and adults alike were able to avail free medical consultation with free medicines, dental and optical services plus free reading glasses. Pag-ibig Fund and PhilHealth personnel also came to give the families information on membership and how to avail benefits from the agencies. Nelson Antuhado was among the more than 700 beneficiaries of the charity event. Nelson had been diagnosed with a heart condition after an electrocardiogram or ECG.
Medyo nakaramdam po ako ng paninikip ng paghinga po. Tapos doon naman po sa findings, nagkaroon po ako ng hindi po siya pantay ang pagpapump ng puso mismo. Yung kanan pong bahagi ay mahina.
Nelson said he is thankful that Wish 1075 journeyed to his place to give assistance to them who are uncertain of what will happen in the future. He, for one, was given assistance to address his heart condition. His family's house, which was built through his wife's hard work in the Middle East, was totally covered with mud and ash when the Taal volcano erupted in January. Even the boats and other equipment used in fishing were all destroyed. Nelson gets his strength from his faith in God and from his wife.
Kahit na ganun na nangyari, papasalamat pa rin po kami.
After the medical mission, Wish 1075 gave away relief packages to the community. Each of the 434 families received a relief box which contains items they could use for several days of their stay in the evacuation site. Wish 1075 also made sure to grant the items on the evacuees' wish list.
Ang kaibahan po ng ating Wish 107.5 FM, kumbaga, yung tinatawag po natin ng convergence, overall po siya. Hindi lang po sa relief siya nakatuon, pero mas higit po siya sa entertainment, which is maganda po. Kasi syempre, doon po sa naranasan nila, at least through sa mga entertainment po, na inyo pong ginagawa po nila dito, kahit po paano ay nawawala sa isip, lalo't higit po ng ating mga bata, yung trahedyang kanila pong naranasan.
Mr. Public Service Kuya Daniel Rason also came to personally meet the evacuees and give words of encouragement.
Ang amin lamang po maiiwan sa inyo, higit sa lahat, huwag niyo po kaming pagpasalamatan kung di ang higit na pagpasalamatan natin ay ang Panginoon na nagbibigay sa atin ng pagkakataon na magkatulong-tulong po tayo. At sa gitna ng mga problemang ganito, huwag niyong kalilimutan palagi, ang sagot po sa suliranin malapit lang. Kasing lapit lang ng tuhod at ng sahig. Ang kailangan natin ay manalangin, humingi ng tulong sa nasa itaas. Sa inyo pong lahat, kasama niyo po kami na nananalangin na harapin natin sama-sama itong mga pagsubok na dumadating sa atin at mga problema na atin pong hinaharap. At may awa po ang Panginoon, makakaraos po tayo.
The medical mission and mini-concert was made possible with help from members Church of God International and volunteer doctors. Funds from this charity event was raised after the Wish Olympics in February. Jun Suriao, UNTV, News and Rescue, Ibaan, Batangas.
And those are the reasons behind the news. I am William Theo.
Hello, Castro III, because we need to know, we will always ask why. Good evening.